It's coming though. It's coming, but not yet.
Okay. Hello, welcome to our book club. We continue with honor verse to the
Honor of the Queen.
honor of honor of the Queen. Okay. I will learn. We have 30 chapters more. And today is chapter 8. And as I mentioned in our pre-show, so I'm disappointed. I was waiting for action because honor left the planet system and I expected, I don't know, sudden attack or something like this. But instead of this, we got a conversation, right? Between who? Well, who are our characters?
Courvoisier, Yanakov,
His three wives, right?
yes.
Yes, wives. Do you know this name? Was this word, wives?
Yes.
It's a plural form from wives, right? So it's kind of changes.
Yep.
Okay, Rachel, Anna, and I don't know.
We pronounce it Esther. The H
Esther.
is silent, so Esther.
Esther. Actually, I did not read the article. I read only synopsis. So please correct me if I'm doing something wrong. But I don't think that those three ladies, they were part of conversation. Or they
Not
were.
much. Not much. Yeah, not much.
Okay, so Courvoisier and Yanakov mostly, right?
Yeah.
But it was interesting about the story part. Okay, let's start with our questions, talking points. And for number one, do we have anyone? Go, would you like to?
First, give 2 reasons why High Admiral Yanakov invited Admiral Courvoisier to a private dinner.
Private dinner.
Private dinner.
Mm-hmm. 2 reasons. Let's find 2.
To talk. To discuss something.
Usually people have a lunch or dinner together to
yes,
discuss something.
To apologize.
To apologize, right? Okay. Apologize of what?
That his officers
Officers?
yes, his officers didn't respect woman officers.
Didn't pay respect to honor, right?
Yes.
Captain Harrington, right? Okay, so the first reason he wanted to apologize, right? He wanted kind of to build a relationship, right? I guess, so to calm down the situation, right? It wasn't kind of apologize as far as I understand, but it was just attempt, to break the ice. Can I say so? To break the ice. Okay, and second reason, do we know?
I don't know.
Sergey, can you help us? What was the second reason?
I think that the second reason was they wanted to have the union with the Manticore anyway, but they wanted to explain the reason why they wanted to have the union. But without apologizes, it would be built more difficult. And High Admiral Yanakov wanted to explain the root causes why they had the problem between officers of Grayson and Honor.
Okay.
So the key was normally for dinner between, powerful men, the wives would be invisible. But he allowed his wives to come to this dinner, one, to show that Grayson can treat women nicely, and 2, that's breaking a tradition. So by doing that for Courvoisier, he's kind of showing Courvoisier that he's considered part of the family. We want to be close friends with you. We value you as a friend. So I'm showing you my wives against our tradition because you're part of our family. So he's trying to show closeness, intimacy, and that women are treated well on Grayson. So yeah, he's trying to send a couple of subtle messages. But also the dinner was to apologize and to discuss root causes, as Sergey said. Yeah.
Can we say that he made a step toward, I don't know, toward Courvoisier, kind of in his direction, to show respect?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So we understand the reasons why he invited. Okay. So what's second question, right? So what are two reasons given by Yanakov, right? Sorry, something wrong with my Zoom. Let's see, what can we do? Some Grayson oppose an alliance with Manticore. Shaima, would you like?
Yeah. What are the two reasons? Yanakov said that there are people on this planet who oppose any sort of an alliance with Manticore. Some fear outside contamination, and others fear an alliance will attract heathens' hostility and not guard us against it. And Protector Benjamin and Yanakov himself among them, and they were well aware of what an alliance could mean, not just the military, but there are still fear from the wedges, the deep wedges among the planets that could affect from the aliens.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you mentioned one reason that closeness to Manticore can provoke kind of problem with heavens, right? So it's, if you want to, I don't know, let's make a real life example, right?
Attract the heavens hostile.
Yeah. So let's make a real life examples. What do you know about such situation? So let's say a country, I don't know, seek help of USSR, right? What does it? It attracts attention from America, right? If you lean toward USSR, let's say somewhere in Africa, right? There is the same. If you tend to get help from Manticorian, probably you will have problem with heavens.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the first one, and
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the second one is cultural, right?
Yeah, the customs and the traditional thoughts, religious thoughts prevent some people from
yeah, and it's easy to understand. Sometimes in modern, I'm trying to build another real life example. Sometimes in Russian propaganda, we can see that China is our friend. And people don't like this, as far as I understand, because people don't have such a friend, because the culture is very different. We don't like to have a friend, I don't know, who eats babies for the breakfast, right?
France is an example. I talked to a French person one time. They have a law in France that like 30% of radio music has to be in the French language. There's a law because so much of the music is in English. They're worried about their language being erased. So they require some of their programming to be in the French language. They're afraid of contamination.
Yeah.
Well, we can find many examples like this, right? So I know that some countries, they try to protect from Hollywood movies. They say, you know, you can show one Hollywood movie if you show one local movie. So only kind of in equal parts, you know, just to maintain some kind of identity.
Yeah, and the Middle East is a good example of this. A lot of the Arabic countries, the Islam countries, don't want Western influence. They don't want their culture to be exposed to dancing and music and, you know, movies about freedom and heroes. You know, they're worried how it will affect their own culture. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're a small one, right? If you're a small one, if you're not so advanced or not so economically powerful, so it's a danger. It's a real danger to be kind of dissolved in other culture, I guess.
I think Great Britain, a British guy once told me that they call themselves the United Kingdom of America, or because they get so much American influence there, they're calling themselves the United Kingdom of America, like they're part of America because of cultural, you know, appropriation, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, sadly or happily, I think that the future of humankind is kind of, you know, to be a, so one culture will win the competition, in my opinion. So we'll have kind of a globish culture. It's inevitable, right? In my opinion, it's inevitable, but people don't like it, so it will take centuries, I guess. So yeah, what
No,
Shane?
Go ahead.
I think it's the hatred of generalizing one pattern that doesn't respect the cultural specificities, yeah,
Specifics.
and or religious ones. So about myself, it's so hard for me to
It's okay.
pronounce it. So it's about globalization and not specific Western culture that we hate. No, to make us opposed to deal with this culture. This is the question.
I can understand it. Yeah, I can.
And
It's
I don't think that this globish culture, it will be, you know, exactly Western. So it will be melded from different parts in the future. So we will take a bit of, I don't know, Arabic, a bit of Chinese, a bit of Russian. So it will be big, you know, pot of everything.
Yeah, and I'm the same way with Mexico. The Mexicans come to America, they don't adopt our culture. They bring their own here. So now we celebrate, you know, Cinco de Mayo and Hanukkah, Jewish holidays. You know, we're starting to do a bunch of foreign stuff here that it's not American. So I don't like the dilution of American culture with all this Mexican crap, you know. So I'm the same way. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, I just said that you need to have that choice to choose what you will deal with the international cultures. We had to be compelled to accept one culture or one pattern. With globalization, I see that globalization make the American culture is the only international culture. I can't accept this point of view.
Okay, it's understandable. So we all have this fear that all the minorities, we can't say the minorities, all different kind of cultures will, you know, disappear. But I don't think it will happen. You know, I think, you know, it's kind of it's something that changed direction with time. So now people like to be globish. Then when they kind of overwhelm it with this, they try to be local, and it's back and forth, and it will never end, I guess.
Yep.
Sergey, please.
Yes, I
Mm,
wanted
yeah.
to add the good examples for me. I like the European Union as an example of multicultural and combination of unified and national identification without borders, without problem, but with respect for your nationality. For me, it was a good example during 30 years, but now we have some problem with that maybe, but the globalization, I think, is lamentable process, and some citizen went from bad places for live as Syria, as places where going to war, and they wanted to live with in the good places as in Europe, as Turkey, as other country. And but the problem don't want to change the culture because they got used to live with their culture in their place. And what do you told teacher Lee about the Mexican culture? Teacher Lee, in my opinion, is a person with the old school like me, and I don't like some Caucasian tradition in my country, and you don't like the Mexican tradition in your country because it's my place. Please
Exactly.
respect my culture, respect my tradition. Don't press your culture.
Exactly.
You could live with your culture in my place with small with your home, no problem. But I don't want to invite it in your culture without my if I don't want.
Yeah, but it's an international problem now. You know, the same kind of thing in Turkey. Turkey is invited by Syrian refugees. The same thing in Vietnam. They're invited by Cambodian refugees. So everyone has own Mexicans now. So it's
Yeah. One of the reasons I hate, excuse me, I hate Miami is you go to Miami, big parts of the city are all Spanish. The signs are in Spanish. Nobody speaks English. It's just Spanish, Spanish, Spanish. You would think you were in Mexico or Cuba.
yeah.
And when the whole part of a city is like that, I don't like that myself, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to go there because they have high crime too. Yeah.
Okay, so Yanakov apologizes, right? Number 3 for Grayson treatment of honor. So what was a Courvoisier reaction? What did he do or say? Sergey, do you remember?
If I remember correctly, Courvoisier didn't want to take the apologize honestly because he didn't understand the road cost before next explanation from Admiral Yanakov, and he thought about only first expression. It's a bad relationships between officers and honor, bad relationship between the head of Grayson and the honor and
Protector, right?
protector. Yeah, and he had a bad feeling about it, and that's why he didn't understand how the conversation will going on with Admiral Yanakov. Maybe Admiral Yanakov would start attack him, maybe not. He didn't understand it, and that's why he took the apologizes officially and not honestly.
Yeah,
Remember, he said that I couldn't invite Honor to dinner alone because she would need a male protector with her. So Grayson, so Courvoisier was upset. He said, you know, we are insulted that you think that Honor would need a male protector with her. You know, she's a naval officer. She's competent. She knows martial arts. She's very capable of protecting herself. the fact that you even think she should have a protector is an insult to us. So Courvoisier wasn't happy with the apology. He said, we are still insulted by your behavior towards our women.
And if I remember right, so he said, you know, if you don't change this attitude, we will not get any progress, right?
Yeah.
Like I think it's important, right? It's important to kind of send a message, right? So you have to change. You need us. Okay, we need you to change, right? So it's kind of interesting.
We call it to set the ground rules, to set the expectations. If you and I are going to ally, this is our expectation. You will treat our women with respect. If you can't do that, we're not going to deal with you. So that was a ground rule that Courvoisier wanted to make clear. You had better change and treat our women better, or we can't do business with you. Yeah.
Shaima, you like to add something?
No, I was about answering number 4, but I totally agree with Teacher Lee and Courvoisier about respecting women.
Yeah, in some Arab countries, and I don't know which ones, I think Saudi Arabia, in some Arab countries, a woman cannot travel without a male relative, correct, Shema?
Yeah, of course.
You got to have a brother or someone with you that's a male.
No.
Some countries.
No, in fact, some countries, but in fact, is the amplification of this point about polygamy in Islamic countries is very small. Very low percentage of men can afford have 2 or 3 wives. But most of Muslim male have one wife for religious reason. By the way. Because Quran mentioned that one wife is more perfect than 2 or 3, because you want to be fair among them, although you will be punished.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about wives.
So
I'm talking about
most Muslim men prefer to marry one wife only.
Yeah, I'm not talking about wives, though. I'm talking about a woman traveling in public. If a woman goes around the city, in some countries, she cannot go alone. She has to have a male family member with her as a protector, right? Saudi Arabia, I think. Nowadays, we have changes in this matter, but I agree with you. In some traditional communities, we can't go alone for work or for even learn. In countryside, some countrysides, still now.
Yeah, but it's not only in Arabic countries, you know. I have the same discrimination. So I cannot go with to the bar with my female colleagues without supervision of my wife, you know. So
I think it's not a discrimination at all.
Yeah, but in most towns, you want to face any problem to practice anything as a male or as a woman. But in some very few towns, you will find a problem.
Yeah, when I first got married, my wife was the same way. I couldn't have lunch or do anything with the female, colleague, if she wasn't there. You're right. Yeah, very jealous. Women are very jealous.
Sergey, You would
Yes, I want to add. I missed 2 classes. Maybe you did discuss about it. I think the Grayson and Medusa.
Masada? Masada?
Masada looks like an Afghanistan for me because they looks like an orthodox. When USSR army and USA army went to the Afghanistan,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they going on to protect the citizen. The Afghanistan started to be like a usual country with human rights for women, with education, with advertising part. After that, last year we can see how human rights cut from education, from walking, from
Yeah, so a nice word for this, I guess it's secular, right? Secular country. So it's country that has no religious power, right? No religion is in power. But now Afghanistan is under Taliban, as far as I understand. So no, they don't think about rights, right? So it's out of the question. So it's the ideology is different.
Well, are you talking more about proxy war where
No.
Afghanistan's a country and Russia goes in there and the US goes in
No,
there?
no. Sergei's point was then when Afghanistan was invaded by either part or Russia or US, it was a different country during the occupation, right? During the occupation,
Okay, yeah. Okay.
it was secular country. But when occupation ended, it's returned back to the same. Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Okay, yeah.
Yes, and we had other example as Iran. Iran is an Islamic country with the Ayatollah Khamenei, and we have the similar problem. But Iran, for me, looks like more country with the human rights for women and for men and for Western parts in Arabic country. But Afghanistan is a bad example.
Okay.
Afghanistan is kind of extreme example, right? So when you have to find some extreme, you see it Afghanistan. When you it's understandable, yeah. Okay, let's go to this number 4. Shaima, you wanted to answer, right?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. For describe how being on Grayson for almost 1,000 years has affected the population. Okay. Yanakov promised Grayson history to show why. Okay. When the Grayson colonists first arrived on Grayson, there were 4 women for every male because the Church of Humanity has always practiced polygamy. And 1,000 years of Grayson's toxic environment has caused their tolerance for heavy metals like arsenic and cadmium to be far higher than Manticores, unfortunately. But the result was that Graysons are small and wary with bad teeth, fragile bones, and a life expectancy of water, and still 37 years. And Graysons must monitor the toxicity of the farmland daily, distill every drop of potable water, and still they suffer massive level of neural damage and mental retardation and birth defects. Even the air they breathe is their enemy.
Okay.
I think
a lot of medical problems.
I think we have kind of 2 combined, right? Number 4 and number 5. So they went to the kind of hostile circumstances, right, with a poisoned planet, and they what else? They was not prepared, I guess, right, to that. So they have to learn in the progress, right?
Poverty, illness, everything.
Yeah.
Okay, let's skip some. Sergey, could you answer number 6? So why men felt guilty to the women suffering?
According to the start organization, when we have 1 man or 4 women, men started to understand they had to have responsibility for women, because women have to birth new babies and they have a problem, and that's why 1 man took 3 or 4 wives, and he took the responsibility, and he took the decision for them. And during the centuries, the ladies lost their responsibilities, their importance, and men started to count them like things. And the clever man of Grayson started to understand that the women, the heroes from their planets, but they started to be people, the second level, not a man. And that's why they understood it. But the mostly of citizens, in my opinion, they didn't understand it. They got used to live. The man, the head of family, the women, the people level 2, and he took the responsibility for them. And ladies can't take the decision. Only men could take a decision about families' problems.
So patriarchy, right? Okay,
Yeah.
let me try to summarize. So first of all, because of unhappy circumstances, because of kind of hostile circumstances, to survive, they needed a lot of babies, right? So actually, they had to sacrifice women, right, to the roles of almost, cattle, just to, to make new babies, and that's all what you have to do, right? So it's kind of a sacrifice, and it's kind of suffering, right? So women are not the cattle, right? It's not only their job, so but they had to, for sake of surviving on this planet.
Yes, and we forgot about the genetic when the ladies got three daughter and 1 son only about.
Yeah. So
And that's why the problem multiplied during the centuries.
So there was kind of a disproportion of genders, right, during the birth, so newcomers, and also, I guess, again, for surviving, the families became to be huge, right? So your job is, produce more people, right? And it provoke patriarchy, as you say it, right? So it provokes the kind of hierarchy inside the families when men took a job of, of everything, of a boss, of judge, of everything, right? So, and of course, this kind of, how it's called, kind of way of thinking, it went from family to society, right? So it's spread it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the TV series Handmaidens, but I've heard that it's a society where the men treat the women just like baby factories. The women are nobody. Their job is to make babies, and that's all they do. And they're otherwise almost like slaves. So I've heard that that's what this TV series is about. A dystopian society where women are treated badly.
And speaking about real life examples, again, we have a few, right? So when people in a position that they have to survive, let's say somewhere in Africa, right? They have a lot of babies, right? So just to survive. So when you go to civilized society, you barely have 1 or 2 children. because it's not necessary anymore, right? So it's a kind of understandable what is happening on, but in the Grayson example, it was to some extreme, right? So it's extreme circumstances went to extreme, I don't know, society relationships inside, I guess.
I think I've read that what we call infant mortality, more babies die in America during birth than in other countries.
Wow.
Which is not what you would expect, right? We're the modern medicine country, and yet we do worse than some other countries, and I'm not sure why.
I don't know, maybe I can only guess, you know, that some immigrants, they have births, they gave birth outside the hospitals, I guess.
It might be weaker, less healthy babies. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay,
that's a possibility.
Yes, I guess we covered a few questions about this structure, family structure and everything. So let's go to the technology side. Number 9. Well, are you ready for number 9?
Yes.
Okay, please.
Explain why Grayson's technology had regressed, going backwards over the centuries, according to Yanakov.
Mm-hmm.
As I remember, he said that
but do you remember the religion was against
yes,
the technology, right? So it wasn't, they do not invest any time or efforts into developing technologies, right? And when you don't invest time and efforts to something, it's going to be regressed, I guess. So it's what happened. Am I right, teacher Lee? Or we should add something else?
There were several factors. One was they were initially anti-technology, but later they learned they had to use technology to survive. So that kind of changed. But in the early centuries, they were anti-technology. They also took their colony ship apart to build things. They needed the metal to build things. So when they took the colony ship apart, they no longer had an advanced ship to learn from. So then they had to build ships that were primitive. So that's why their ships, their navy now is more primitive than their colony ship, because they took the ship apart for pieces and metals, and now when they had to build a new ship, they didn't know how to make it an advanced ship, so the ships are kind of primitive. So, and also they were isolationist. When they first went to Grayson, they wanted to live away from everyone else. So they didn't trade with anybody. They just, kept to themselves with, blinders on. We don't want to talk to anybody. We don't want to trade to anybody. Just leave us alone. So they didn't develop that way either. They didn't do any trade. So they didn't learn new things through trade. So all of that together, their technology level actually went down.
Yeah. And I like the word you used in the synopsis. So they cannibalized own colony ship, right? Yeah. So they ate it. Sergey?
Yes, and I wanted to add I wanted to continue the thought from teacher Lee about the exchange of technology, and the self-isolation does not allow to compare your technology with technology, your enemies, your friends, because you don't take part in exhibition, you don't have the war where you can compare. And if you know that your enemy has a extremely technology, you could have the jump of technology because you started to thinking about it. We have to have the similar technology, like in 20th century when two countries make the nuclear weapon, USA and USSR. because
what
we
about-
have the comparing.
What about real life examples? Do you have any?
China,
The-
China, yeah,
Russia, teacher, Russia. We are
Russia.
now,
we are going to be self-isolated, you know. We are
now,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
unfortunately for me, unfortunately for us, now we have the process to go to the self-isolation, because it's not our self-isolation, it's a isolation from Western countries and Russia, because before the 24th of February, we have a lot of science project together. Now the science journal stopped to publish the Russian science.
And I guess the main problem is that we have a lot of idiots in government who say it's for better. They say it's for
Honestly,
better.
Ivan, we have the similar views for this situation. I don't argue with you.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a real life example, you know, like Grayson, you know, we are not going to take any devil technology. We will invent our own, you know, whatever it takes, 100 years, okay.
Yep, your own internet. You're withdrawing from the ISS, from the space station, so your space program's kind of dying. Yeah, and like you say, you can't trade with the U.S. No more supercomputer, you know, technology. So yeah, I didn't think about that, but you're right. And your brain drain, right? All your smart people are leaving the country. It's going to hurt Russia for decades.
Yeah.
Decades. Yeah.
Yeah, we still have hope, but it's, you know,
It's a shame. I feel for you, Ivan. I mean, I think America's getting worse, but Russia took the fast lane to getting worse.
and I told you every time when you complained about America, I told you, hold my beer, you know, we will take it better.
Oh, man. Oh, it's
Okay,
terrible.
Let's go to the next one, number 10. Shaima, please.
Okay, explain how the physical friction had changed over time up to the beginning to the Civil War. Yeah, the schism happened between the faithful and the moderates, which led to the Civil War. The faithful finally came to realize that they too needed technology to survive. But to compensate, their society became very hardcore in their point of view. They need to fix everything in the world, everything wrong in the universe, and to meet the God's will, and created dietary laws and the ritual cleansing of sins by stoning sinners to death, unfortunately. And the Civil War lasted 5 years. Then there was the wife of the most
Okay,
yeah.
let's stop here. It's the next question. So speaking of changing of the face, right? So can we say that they started to feel that they are kind of a messiah, right? So they have to, you know, they improve the world around them. Is it correct? Messiah.
Yeah. In Judaism and some Muslim countries, we have the same view of the world and how to release from our sins. It's a misinterpreting of the real scripts of revealed scripts from some people, extremist people. So they sentence some people to death. This is the real, but it's not a religious law.
Yeah, but we can have a lot of examples like this, right? It's not always about religion. Sometimes it's about, you know, I don't know, spreading the democracy, right? So you do everything wrong. Let me teach you how to do it right. So it's a normal thing in our world, I guess.
I see an international movie and won by the Oscar prize. Its name was, I think, I will tell you about the story. The Yiddish community in Israel, and how the women face too many hardships in marriage and in everything, and the wife will were far away to the Western world because these extremist rules. Yeah.
Okay. Teacher Lee, I interrupted you.
No, I was just going to say the American liberals are this way today. They have become extremists. They call us extremists, but they're the ones, they hate the flag, they hate America, they hate white people, they hate conservatives, they hate Trump, they want to destroy America, they hate our Constitution, they hate our founding fathers, they want to destroy everything and recreate it from scratch in their perfect image.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel smell of strike on my YouTube channel already.
I think
sorry,
that, you will have a lot of strikes. We remember the movie club about Pocahontas.
Oh my! You're right. I apologize.
I'm joking. I'm not afraid of just the world is polarized today. Cannot.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
But,
Okay,
but
so
our liberals are the same way. The liberals want to fix everything now.
yeah.
You know, no gas cars, everything electric. Oh, we don't have enough electricity to make everything electric, but we're going to do it anyway. You know, it's they're trying to do things that we're not ready to do it yet. It's going to cost, doom.
Well, if they were able to learn, it will be better with time. So, but they prefer, they never see own mistakes, right? So we have a city without electricity for 10 years. Who is guilty because of this? We don't know. It just happened, So that's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, Vola, could you please take number 11?
Funny to watch.
Explain who Barbara Bancroft was.
Mhm.
As I remember, it was some woman that made everyone sure that Masada have some
Doomsday machine, right?
some weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And Grayson and Masada make some agreement.
They forced, they could not continue, right? Because it was a danger of, I don't know, termination of the life on the planet, right? So they had to make an agreement, right? Kind of peaceful agreement. So Barbara Bank, she defected. What does mean defected?
Defected.
When you serve or belong to one side, and you start to, kind of a traitor to went to another side. So am I right that she is a defector, Teacher Lee, right?
Yes, she defected from the faithful to the moderate side.
Yeah. So probably she sacrificed her own kind of life, I guess. Maybe not life, but career and everything, right? To warn people that it became too dangerous topic. To become too dangerous point. Yeah, and we have a lot of real life examples as well, right? Do you remember these officers who stopped nuclear war just because they saw that it's a mistake, and like this, right? Doomsday machine.
The chapter 8 is very, very actual. It looks like a true, unfortunately for us.
Yeah, this book based, on human history, right? And this history is repeat itself more and more, so we can see
like a spring.
Yeah, it's like a spiral.
Spiral. Yeah.
You know, we almost out of time, and I don't want to rush us from the other questions. So we have no reason, you know, to be in rush. So we can discuss it slowly. So we do it for pleasure, right? Not for kind of schedule. So we will put the rest of the questions, 5 questions, to the next session, and we will start next chapter and these 5 questions. So we in our own pace. We have a few, yeah.
Because we didn't talk about feminism.
Feminism.
Yes, it's a chapter about the feminism too, and I like this.
Okay. So we should reserve some time for your report about feminism on Grayson planet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we have a few minutes more. If you have any questions about what we discussed before, so it's time to. Okay,
Thank you.
Let me ask. Whoa, what is Doomsday Machine? Why it's Doomsday?
I think doomsday it's mean the end of the day.
End of the days. Right?
Yes. Like the final day.
Mhm.
Something dangerous.
Do you know any examples? What we can call Doomsday weapon?
Nuclear weapon.
Nuclear weapon. Yeah. And I like what was it you saw it for a moment, because I remember my childhood was about, you know, we were afraid of nuclear attack every minute. You know, we all knew where is the shelter. We all knew, you know, how sirens, so the headsets they make, you know, alarm signal, how they sound. So we were prepared to Doomsday Machine every minute.
Yes, and in addition, we have the rules how to walk out from the center of nuclear blast, and
Yeah,
some devices. It's my childhood.
Yeah, I remember I was a young boy and I learned subject, you know, if you see this, how we call this, especially this mushrooms that nuclear weapon makes.
We call it mushroom cloud.
Yeah, so I remember if you see the mushroom clouds, you have to get a matchbox and compare. So is it bigger or smaller? If it's bigger, it's too late. If it's smaller,
I never heard that. That's new.
if
If it's bigger, there's no need to run.
Yeah. Relax.
Just relax your last seconds of life. Yes.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a sniper motto. The snipers, you know, say 1 shot, 1 kill.
Yeah.
So one of the sniper mottos is don't run, you'll just die tired.
Exactly. Okay, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much for the great discussion.
Thank you. Yeah.
See you next
Bye.
time.
Bye.
Thank you. See you.